Hi, my name is Guillermo Ramon. I'm 67 years old and I live in Macon, Georgia. The other day, a few days ago, I was at the lake swimming, and then after that we decided to go to the Golden Corral, where I was having a steak and a Coke. When I went to drink from the straw, the water started spilling down the side of my mouth. And I was so totally surprised, I couldn't control it. So I started realizing, oh my God, I have a paralysis. I'm moving this side, but I cannot do the other. I didn't think much of it. I decided, okay, this could be just an allergy or something. It doesn't seem to be a stroke. So the next day, it was still there, and I went to the hospital. As soon as they saw me, they say, droopy face, and they just gave me an MRI, EKG, blood tests, everything. They discarded the stroke and discovered, they diagnosed me immediately with Bell's palsy, which is just basically a paralysis on one side of your face. Now, the interesting thing about this paralysis is that it has opened a new understanding in me. I was born with a paralysis. I was born in Easter, right in the midnight between Thursday and Friday, in a Catholic country where people don't work in Easter. So there was one doctor, and there were 5 births at the same time. The guy got kind of desperate and reached, because I was kind of flipped, reached inside my mother and grabbed me by the shoulder and pulled me out by the arm and the shoulder. And it ripped my all the muscles of my arm and the side of my body. So I grew up having a paralysis that was from birth, so I never knew what it was not. I know on my left side that my left is normal and the other side doesn't respond the same way, but I'm used to it, so used to it. So in a way, I grew up like a person that doesn't have paralysis. I got a black belt in karate. I did all sorts of things like if I didn't have paralysis. And then by the time I was in my 30s, I started working with children who had paralysis, working as a behavior analyst and a child development expert with them. And I thought, okay, I do understand them so well because I have paralysis too. So I would help them and would be very strict with them and make sure that they did everything that they needed, and always tell them you cannot accept failure because it's not a matter of how difficult it is for you, it's a matter that you're doing it. And it just means we have to make a bigger effort. It doesn't mean that we are less than anybody else. So we have to work harder, and that's all. That's what our life is working harder and getting the joy of achieving things because we work hard. But then, now I got this paralysis, and all of a sudden I realized many of the things that I had never understood about the paralysis before. I wasn't aware of what it is. When I tell people, see, the problem is that the protagonistic muscles and the antagonistic muscles are sending a message at the same time. So when you're trying to reach out and your muscles are contracting at the same time, you cannot get there. And you have to learn to stretch that with your muscles only in one direction. You have to teach that. Now I'm doing that to my face. And it has given me a complete vision of what the paralysis is, one that I was missing partly. And that is, I didn't know what wrestling with my paralysis was. Now I know it. So in a way, I have learned something very, very important thanks to this paralysis, the new one. And that is that the effort is a lot bigger than I thought. That's really what it is. But I have to do it.